Hey guys, so this isn't Johnny, but rather, this is his wife. Johnny had this script all written out and was looking forward to sharing it with you guys, but woke up very sick and now his voice is completely gone. The thing is, this script will only be applicable to these playoffs for a short period of time, so I offered to do the audio for him. So again, my voice, but his thoughts, so feel free to unleash your opinions in the comments below because I promise I will not take it personally. First off, starting in the Eastern Conference, we're looking at Jalen Brunson. If the New York Knicks manage to win the championship, then it will be the organization's first title since 1973, meaning that Jalen Brunson will have achieved something that even Patrick Ewing and Carmelo Anthony couldn't do. To say that this would make him a legendary figure in the Big Apple would be an understatement. Considering the drought this iconic franchise is in, I can pretty confidently state that a championship this season would not only result in an eventual jersey retirement, but a statue outside of MSG as well. Naturally, the arguments will really heat up about whether or not he's the greatest Knick in franchise history, as he'll now have his own solid case against Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, and Patrick Ewing. Beyond that, Brunson has been viewed as a Tier 2 superstar for quite a while now, but a ring in 2026 would force the basketball community to reevaluate that position. Next is the opposing superstar in that series, Joel Embiid. I know it's only the second round, but this is already looking as if it's Embiid's redemption tour, as he just earned himself a ton of respect for his epic performance in the first round. After years of people claiming that he was the worst superstar and playoff choker in NBA history, now he has an iconic performance under his belt as he battled through injury to secure a Game 7 victory. If this trend continues, we'll be witnessing a legacy-transforming playoff run that is eerily similar to Dirk Nowitzki's run in 2011, where he also changed his image from that of a choker to an absolute hero. Similar to the Knicks, the 76ers are also an iconic organization that hasn't won a championship in many decades. So if Embiid manages to lead this team to the promised land for the first time since Moses was on the roster, then it will immortalize him in ways that even Allen Iverson couldn't reach. I could also see the comparisons between Embiid and Nikola Jokic resurfacing, considering how Jokic disappointed while Embiid would be ascending to new heights. Moving on to the other Eastern matchup, we're looking at James Harden. Similar to previously mentioned Embiid, Harden has a very long history of disappointing moments in the NBA playoffs. Although he's undoubtedly one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen, unfortunately his career has also been defined by his postseason failures. But an NBA championship would basically undo all of that overnight and would suddenly allow James to be celebrated for the all-time great that he is, without fans feeling the constant need to discredit him. I could also foresee a narrative emerging that Harden was incapable of leading a team to a championship as the clear leader, considering how he's now teammates with Donovan Mitchell, who may be receiving even more credit for their success if they do in fact win the championship. Still, winning a ring in Cleveland is a massive deal, and would be enough to immortalize Harden forever in that city, even though he'd have to settle for being the second greatest James that they've ever had. Now we're looking at Cade Cunningham. If he finds a way to bring a championship to the Motor City, it'll be the first time they've won it all since 2004. Yes, the Pistons have a history of championship successes, but usually it's pretty clear that it was done by committee. To an extent, that will be the case here too, but Cade is obviously the best player on this current group, which will result in a massive boost to his growing legacy. The guy is only 24 years old, which means he'll suddenly be rivaling Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards as potentially the most promising player under 25. I definitely don't think he has the stats to justify him entering the conversation of the best player in the league, but a ring in 2026 at the age of 24 would open the minds of a lot of people and enable us to envision him in that role further down the line. Now, moving on to the Western Conference, and first, we're looking at Victor Wembanyama. If the Spurs win the championship, then Wemby is immediately celebrated as one of the all-time great San Antonio bigs. But beyond that, the conversation starts reaching wild territory about his GOAT-level trajectory. At the age of 22, he would theoretically already have a DPOI, a ring, and possibly a Finals MVP. Many people will be quick to point out that Michael Jordan didn't win his championship until he was 28, and LeBron didn't win his first until he was 27, so a hype train for a 22-year-old champion of his caliber will be utterly insane. With SGA and Nikola Jokic both being eliminated, it would definitely earn Victor the title of the best player in the game. It would guarantee that if Victor were ever to sustain a career-altering injury before the age of 25, then he would easily surpass guys like Derrick Rose, Grant Hill, and Bill Walton as the greatest what-if in NBA history. But for his sake and ours, let's hope this would only be the beginning of a long and successful career. Moving to the opposing team in that series, we're looking at Anthony Edwards. Ant is only 24 years old, and in order to win the championship, he'll likely have to defeat Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, and SGA, and whoever the Eastern Conference provides, on his way to the chip. Without question, this would be viewed as one of the toughest and most impressive championship runs in NBA history. As the first superstar to lead the Timberwolves to a championship, suddenly the comparisons to a young Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant will heat up all over again, but this time they'll be more intense than they've ever been before. He definitely wouldn't outright claim the title of best player in the game today, because I do think a lot of people would recognize the overall talent of his Minnesota team that helped him get there, but at the very least, he'll legitimately enter the conversation for the first time in his career. Now we're looking at the reigning MVP and Finals MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. With the recent elimination of Nikola Jokic, he's currently widely viewed today as the best player in the game, and a second straight championship would only further cement this status. Another ring and Finals MVP would push him into the conversation that some people might not be ready to have, but is certainly warranted. Like if he's surpassed guards like Dwayne Wade, Jerry West, and Isaiah Thomas on the all-time list. Some anxious young fans will be saying he's already on Kobe's level. He's probably already viewed as the greatest player in OKC history, but another championship essentially closes the debate. It would also guarantee that he's not just getting his jersey retired, but a statue outside of the building when his playing days are done. And last, but certainly not least, we're looking at LeBron James. The Lakers have been through an absolute roller coaster of a season, and after a very impressive showing in the first round, LeBron is now faced with his most intimidating opponent since the KD and Steph Warriors. Reports indicate that Luka Doncic is nowhere close to returning from injury, meaning that if the Lakers end up winning the championship, it will certainly be a result of LeBron's incredible play. If at the age of 41 he manages to take down this absolute juggernaut of the Oklahoma City Thunder with a shorthanded team, then I would argue that this is even more impressive than what he did in 2016 and 2018. It would result in the GOAT conversation getting to its highest point of intensity that we've ever seen. The vast majority of people won't change their minds either way, but yes, if LeBron wins it all, I do believe that he would win over some people. Keyword being some. It would guarantee that LeBron gets his own statue outside of the building and would do a lot to gain favor in a city that has felt mixed about him ever since he arrived. I gotta be honest, it feels silly to even entertain these thoughts, considering how overwhelming of a favorite OKC is, but of course, that just adds to the aura if he was in fact able to pull this off. So what do you guys think? Whose legacy gets the greatest boost with a championship victory? We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. Shout out to the members for supporting this channel. Seriously, this wife very much appreciates it. And thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and we'll see you guys in the next video.